Welcome to Talking Giants presented by SeatGeek. I'm your host, Bobby Skinner, here with my co-host, Justin Pennick. And we've got ourselves an annual exercise we do. We're going to take a little look at the 2023 free agency. Giants are going to have some money, so we're going to be looking at some top-of-the-market guys and some guys who may come on bargains. Giants signed 5 and cut 5 guys, and then we got a little to talk about it from OTAs. Justin, how you feeling post Andrew Thomas interview? And post I don't have to go to New Jersey for like 3 months. Hallelujah.
Bobby Skinner, hello. How are you? Everybody who's listening, hello. Producer Julian, hello. How you doing? I'm feeling good. Feeling good. Thanks for the reaction to the Andrew Thomas interview. That was pretty cool. I'm excited that we're talking about some OTAs and we got to hear Kafka again, Daboll, at least when we're recording this. I hope that we're going to hear Wink. Do you know if he's going to talk or if that's going to be put out?
No, they're not talking to defensive coaches today.
They're not?
Nope.
What about when are they going to?
Probably next week.
I hope so, because there's something particular that I want to hear about what Wink Martindale has to say, but we'll talk about it then. Hi. Hi.
Yeah, we got some news out of OTAs. Aaron Robinson's at cornerback too. You know, Lemieux at left guard. Some
Jon Feliciano is still talking.
Yeah, so we're gonna get into all of that. But first, this episode was brought to you by Aaron Boucher. He's the only one. Aaron Boucher. He's a long time supporter though. I know that.
Yeah, AB on Twitter, I think. And I think that's like the abbreviation. I think that's his like name on Twitter.
Aaron Boucher.
AB. AB went to patreon.com/talkinggiants. And for $2 a month plus some other tiers, you know the drill. We got an afternoon little Patreon session going on right now. So patreon.com/talkinggiants. Favorite people in the world. Thank you.
All right, Justin, let's get into some of the OTA roundup before we get into the other things. A few things coming out of the OTAs, mostly from press conferences and some other on-the-field notes. But the first thing from the press conferences was with Brian Daboll, and Mike Kafka talked on it a little bit. But Brian Daboll really talking about making this team more aggressive and fitting guys into the scheme according to their strengths, which sounds like coach speak, but they've got the track record of doing it. He had a quote on Daniel Jones saying like, hey, it's May. Go out there and throw a few picks in practice. No sweat. Like we're going to, throw some tight window throws. Let's push the ball downfield. And Daniel Jones even said in his press conference like, hey, he's got a mindset of being aggressive and letting the wide receivers know we're going to give you the opportunities to make plays. So this is just stuff that is being, we keep on hearing it. We've seen it with Buffalo. We've seen it with Kansas City and Mike Kafka. And I think that's like really good signs for this offense for this upcoming season. And Daniel Jones, this is Daniel Jones' last chance. And the only way that he's going to get the opportunity to be with the Giants for a 5th year is to go out there and be aggressive and be good at being aggressive.
I feel bad for Daniel Jones's brain because it's his rookie year. He's maybe told something similar to what he's being told now, maybe not so ultra aggressive, and then 2020, 2021 just cut the aggression out, just cut it cold, and then now we're back into it. Like literally what Brian Daboll is saying about Daniel Jones this spring is the opposite of what Jason Garrett said about Daniel Jones the spring of 2020 and his first offseason here, is that we want to cut down on the turnovers. And now Brian Daboll's like, hey, fuck it. Throw out and throw some interceptions during the spring. So I feel bad for his brain, and his psyche just says, well, what do you want me to do? Like, what should I do as a quarterback in the NFL? So
it's got to feel good from the point of view. It's like, hey, he knows this is his last chance. He had the 5th year option decline. He's like, okay, well, at least I'm going to be going out with someone who's going to give me the shot to be the guy. Yeah. Instead of the last coaching staff who just tried to, win, by freaking getting 10 yards every 3 plays and controlling the clock and playing defense, So this coaching staff is going to give him that opportunity to go out and ball. There will be no the coordinator sucks. I'm not saying Brian Daboll and Mike Kafka will be great, right off rip. Obviously they don't have the personnel they had, but they're going to give them the opportunity to do the best with what they have. And he mentioned Kadarius Toney and Kenny Golladay specifically. He's like, hey, they're starting to install their playbook, the early portions of it. And it's like, hey, on this concept, if you feel more comfortable doing this route this way, then do it. And you know, same with Galladay. It's like if you feel, you know, being physical and more vertical, you know, so like an example of something like that could be like, hey, they're running flood, which is a high to low 3-level read. So,
you love flood.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things. You know, it's like, okay, like Galladay, you feel comfortable in this, and Tony, do you feel more comfortable running the flat? Do you feel more comfortable running, you know, the backside dig, or you know, things of that nature. So working on those things, getting those things done early, and really talking with those players. And it's really good to see Kadarius Toney there. Although him and Galladay are in red jerseys, but it seems like that's more precautionary than anything.
Yeah, don't care. They're not, even if they didn't have the red jerseys on, they're not doing anything major anyway. So this is basically just a glorified walkthrough anyway. So
yeah, there was no pictures or news from that Toney was there the past 2 days, you know, but we had known that he was in the building and stuff before that, so there's a little calmness. But part of me was like, hopefully, I really was like dreading, you know, media shows up on Thursday and it's like, Tony's not here. So when I saw they're here, but they're in red jerseys, I smiled. You know, the red jerseys didn't bother me at all. You know, this is the time of year where they're going to be extra precautionary. Especially you got new rookies on the team, guys trying to make the team. So very clear, like, hey, let's not bump these cats around.
Yeah, all for it. Attendance seemed to be good. Daboll talked about that. He talked about Toney and specifically said that he has a personality that kind of lights up a room. So all for it, man. Like let's rock and roll. Let's get this offense installed. They're putting a lot on these guys from what I know and from what Kafka and Daboll are saying. And what I really love about, and again, these are just press conferences, you can't take a lot out of it, but what I love about Kafka and Daboll right now is that even though they never did work together, Garrett and Judge never worked together, but they're speaking very similarly in terms of the things that they're talking about, in terms of the timeline of how they're installing things, where this was something that we talked about in the moment with Judge and Garrett. They never seem to be in sync. They never seem to be in sync with each other. I'm excited to go and actually watch these. I'm excited to go and watch these practices if they open them up, because I never saw Joe Judge and Jason Garrett talk to each other once when Snacks and I were in Massachusetts. They didn't have a conversation with each other. Him and Patrick Graham were talking. Joe Judge was screaming at Thomas McGahee and Tom Quinn, because that's what he did with special teams. But I just never saw Jason Garrett and Joe Judge have a single conversation. Whereas Kafka and Daboll, at least in these pressers, they're speaking kind of like the same language, and the way that they're talking about the timeline of installing things, it's similar. So I like that.
Yeah, so hearing good things. Now it's time to be about it. Other things, cornerback 2 has been a big question mark. What we all kind of assume, Aaron Robinson did work at cornerback 2 in the media sessions for OTAs. I don't know if they're allowed to tweet that, but they were. Aaron Robinson was working at cornerback 2. Again, I think they've added some vets, which we're going to talk about in a second, you know, and obviously they're not going to throw those guys right in. But if the chips are down, it seems like Aaron Robinson, that is where he's going to land.
And I think that makes the most sense. I know he projects best in the slot, but there's so much. If there is a position that the Giants have a little bit of depth in, it's at slot corner. And I think it just makes the most sense that Aaron Robinson is going to play outside.
He's the one you could, like, if you asked us, you know, Cordell Flott, Darnay Holmes, Aaron Robinson, who's the best outside cornerback 2022, I think everyone lands on Aaron Robinson for that role. Like, definitely not Darnay, and Flott maybe could be eventually, but not right away.
Not right away, no.
Shane Lemieux is working at left guard over Max Garcia, which I really like.
Can we agree that the best version of the New York Giants in 2023 is on the left side? Is Shane Lemieux and Andrew Thomas at left tackle and left guard?
23 or 22?
I'm sorry. For 2022. I'm getting too excited about our 2023 free agency preview.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I like Lemieux better than what Garcia would bring, especially at this point of his career. I would like to see Lemieux win that job. I don't want Josh Suzuki thrown in there right away.
I said that on a stream with Pest and Hub, and they looked at me like I had 5 heads. I don't think that's an outlandish take, but maybe a lot of fans want Ozudu in their day one. But I do think Lemieux...
Yeah, everyone wants the rookies to play day one.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the best version of the Giants' offensive line, is those two guys together for right now.
Listen, if Ozudu works through some of his weaknesses and looks like, hey, he's ready to go, then go, by all means. But I would like to see him work as becoming a better offensive lineman. And again, there's much different... You practice much differently when you're worried about getting better at your position compared to worrying about how to do better against the opponent. It makes a huge difference. Let him work on his technique. Not be flustered with the playbook and things of that nature. So I would like Azudu to sit off rip. Again,
I agree.
He can come in and prove me wrong, but I'm not in any rush to play Josh Azudu.
Yeah. And these things always seem to work themselves out. That's going to be a common phrase that I'm going to say this summer when we're talking about depth or when we're talking about positional battles. A lot of things seem to just work themselves out where somebody's going to go down with an injury at some point, and then it's like, oh, well, you're going to get playing time anyway, so we don't even need to talk about it or worry about it.
It's a little nicer this year compared to last year when Shane Lemieux went down. It's like, okay, time to panic. We have nobody as depth.
We have to trade for
They had freaking
anybody.
Kenny Wiggins playing. Like they had Zach Fulton behind Kenny Wiggins. And Kenny Wiggins is the most unathletic offensive lineman I've ever seen in a starting lineup before.
Remember Larson? Who was that?
Ted Larson. He looked like a homeless man.
Oh, my God.
I messaged Nick Gates with a picture of him. I was like, this looks like the guy outside of 7-Eleven, Ted Larson. Like, he looks like a homeless man.
Did Nick Gates like that? Did he appreciate that?
He
did?
Yeah, he thought that was funny.
Okay.
Speaking of Nick Gates, I'm really hoping he gets healthy. We're not banking on it because he's a much better center than Jon Feliciano. And then I debated whether to talk about this or not, but I feel like we should because it has to do with the current coaching staff. Feliciano did an interview, and I don't know who it was with, but we quote tweeted it, so if you want to see it, check it out. And they also, because he got benched last year by the Buffalo Bills. He got benched. And he had a comment of how are you feeling when all the play, after the loss to the Chiefs? And he's like, I'll be honest, I was sad for my teammates, but he's like, part of me was like, you guys got what you deserved.
Y'all got what y'all deserved. Yeah.
Yeah. So, because he was sitting on the bench. And one, I understand that mindset. Like, if you've been benched, the competitor in you wants your team to lose, especially if you're moving on from them, and you're a vet. If you feel like, you've started a lot of games or decent amount of games in the NFL like Jon Feliciano. So I understand that. But also, you don't vocalize that. Two, and here's the thing, the only thing that really annoys me about it is you definitely don't vocalize it when the two guys who made the decision to bench you are now your coaches in Brian Daboll and Bobby Johnson. Like Sean McDermott was the head coach of the Buffalo Bills, but the decision to not play Jon Feliciano came from the offensive coordinator Brian Daboll and the offensive line coach Bobby Johnson. And also, what do you mean they got what they deserve? They dropped 36. It was an amazing offensive performance. If you've played nose tackle, maybe, and he talked about they didn't have that attitude out there.
Yeah, he was talking about attitude. Like attitude would have been the main difference in that game. No,
they dropped 36 points.
Come on.
And you were a subpar player. I've watched him. The people that we talk about with the Bills, he was a subpar player.
And the Bills' offensive line got better when he was not on the field.
Yes, it did. It gelled more. They became a better, running the ball, pass blocking. So just kind of a weird thing, and it comes out the same day that Bobby Johnson said his nickname for him is Dirtbag. But that was in a playful way.
Yeah, that was in a.
But it was just kind of funny. It's like Bobby Johnson says his nickname for Jon Feliciano is Dirtbag, and then an hour later it's like, interview with Jon Feliciano. Y'all got what you deserved.
Yeah, that was in a glowing white collar. Bobby Johnson saying dirtbag.
Yeah.
Bobby Johnson, Rob Sale, are they like bald brothers except just Bobby Johnson has a beard, right? I was like,
they're different races too.
They are? Oh, my bad. Might be. You love the O-line people, so I let you handle that. The whole thing with Feliciano is he talks like he's just this proven starter that's he's been around for a while, but talks a bigger game than he actually plays. And it's going to get really old on me. And I know not everybody's looking at Jon Feliciano quotes over the offseason, but it's a signing that I didn't really like to begin with. It was a signing that I felt was forced because he kind of just knows the system, and he's going to come in here and he's going to be able to make the calls at the line of scrimmage, which is very important. But he's going to come in here. He's not going to be very good. I don't think he's going to be very good in pass protection. He's going to talk all this shit that he's talked this offseason about his attitude and that he's tough and dirtbag, all this stuff. He's going to come out and he's not going to be very good. And that's going to get really old on me as a fan.
Right now, he's their best option at center, if you're assuming Nick Gates is out. But there is a clear difference of Nick Gates' level of play and Jon Feliciano's. like I have more excitement for Shane Lemieux than I do Jon Feliciano. So it's just like, it was just a weird, it's like, dude, the guys who made that decision are now your coaches.
Yeah.
So just kind of weird from Jon Feliciano.
And we were talking about like leadership and grit and who's going to be the guy that's going to push everybody else around him. If Jon Feliciano's talking like this offseason, he's going to be the guy that's going to push this rest of this offense line. I don't even feel great about that.
I mean, what
have you proven?
Teammates, but you can't discount that, like, teammates, coaches, and stuff do like him. Okay, the reason he was benched is because of his play. Like, he is elite. Like, that is real. Obviously your play has to match it to be starting, but that's also not fake either. Like, he is like a one of those guys.
Yeah. This is very much fan Justin talking and not analyst Justin talking. Like, it's annoying how he's talked about. He's hyped himself up this offseason. That's what he's done. He's hyped himself up thinking that he's the shit. And I get it, as an athlete, you kind of have to, but you got to back it up. And I'm excited to see if he's going to back it up or not.
Julian has his hand raised.
Not to be like contradictory, but I kind of like don't hate it at all. I want my center to think that he's going to be the best one out there. And on the other side, like, I like when players just don't give political answers. And that's what every player is thinking when they get benched. Like, a little part of them inside is pissed or is happy when they lose because they feel like they would have made a difference. Would he have made a difference in a 36 to 40 game, whatever it was? Like, no, he absolutely wouldn't have. But the fact that that's his mindset is kind of good. Like, you think Carson Wentz was probably inside pretty mad when they won the Super Bowl and he wasn't in the game. Obviously, the right thing to do is to never say that to the media. But I don't know. It's fun to me when players like don't give political answers. And just speak.
I mean, I agree with like I agree. Like, that's what I said is I agree with that mindset. Like, every player who's been benched has that mindset. I got benched in a JV basketball game I got in trouble. And I was like, I hope we lose so bad. I hope our center gets dominated. Like, I understand that, but saying you got what you deserve to the guys who are now, they're now it'd be one thing if Bobby Johnson and Brian Daboll aren't here. It would piss off Bills fans, but as Giants fans, we wouldn't care. But like the guys who got what they deserve are now your offensive coordinator, your head coach, and your offensive line coach again.
Yeah, it's definitely weird.
Also, don't say whatever you feel. And so that's all we got out of OTAs, Justin. The other news is some guys that were signed. Jalen Holmes, defensive end, safety Henry Black, cornerback Michael Jacquette, cornerback Maurice Kennedy, cornerback Khalil Dorsey. Cut Trent Harris, Miami guy. Hate to lose a Miami guy. Brian Lewerke. So we're going to need to add a fourth QB for camp. I'm excited to see who that will be. DB Jordan Mosley lasted 2 days, the safety out of Maryland. And then defensive tackle UDFA Antonio Valentino out of Florida. And one that's going to really sting Justin because he likes him a lot, Raymond Johnson cut.
Yeah, Raymond Johnson, it was tough to see him go. I didn't think he would make the team. I just wanted to see him play in the preseason and play in camp because that's when he really kind of stood out last year. He was our favorite UDFA last year. I met him at the Candlewick Diner as he was walking out of the bathroom.
I like him more than some of the other defensive linemen UDFAs that they brought in that are on the roster.
Yeah, I mean, different roles though. I mean, they're more of like these bigger run stuffers, and Raymond Johnson's like a lighter guy. So they're different. He's kind of the
same role Jabari Ellis fits.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you thinking of Are you thinking of Justin?
No, Jabari Ellis, the South Carolina UDFA.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, not Justin Ellis. So but also it's like I'm not gonna be worried about Raymond Johnson. But it was like if I was GM, I wouldn't have done that part.
Rooting for him.
Some info on the guys they brought in. We'll go quick through this. Jalen Holmes was a 2018 fourth rounder for the Vikings. Was with defensive line coach Andre Patterson. In 2020, he played his most playing time. Played 2/3 of the snaps. Played 35% of the snaps this past season with the Saints. 6'5", 283. Had in that 2020 year, he had 19 pressures, 4 QB hits, only 1 sack in his career. So maybe can be the 5th defensive tackle. We'll see. The one who I think has a really good chance at making the roster is safety Henry Black, 6 foot, 204 pounds. He was the 3rd safety for the Packers this past year. Like, he played snaps in every single game in 2021. And he played like like there was only 2 games where he played less than 15%. Like he was a part of their defensive rotation as that third safety, and they moved him around a lot. He was versatile. He played the exact amount of snaps in the box and playing deep. 30.9% and then 38% around at nickel. He wasn't very good for Green Bay, but also again, we have our third safety is Dane Belton, a 4th round pick, and then 2 UDFAs and Yusuf Corker and Trenton Thompson after him. So I think out of all these guys signed, he has the best chance to make the roster.
Talk about Kennedy?
Not yet. We can talk about him next. Maurice Kennedy, 6'1", 193 cornerback, 28 years old, was a 6th rounder for the Ravens in 2016. In 2017, with Wink Martindale, he played 60% of the snaps in the nickel. In 2019, with the Ravens and the Jets, he played 50% of the snaps playing outside. He's got good size, decent athleticism, not great, not bad. In 2019, though, when he did play outside, his advanced stats, 27 for 42 against him, 64%, 327 yards, 12 yards per reception, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. So not horrible stats. And again, they're in need of outside corners. So he may be. I'm not saying he's going to be cornerback 2, but he might be the next guy up for cornerback 2.
Kennedy, our friend Maurice Kennedy, is now the 2nd most experienced cornerback on the team.
A word?
Yeah. And that's crazy to think about. Like, you even just go to the safeties, too. You have your 1 safety in McKinney and Love, or you have your 2 safeties in McKinney and Love that, McKinney was the only full-time starter. Julian Love is like this rotational player that just like comes in. Up and down the secondary, there's now 3 or 4 players that have gotten more than 50% of defensive snaps in a given season. That's it. It's Xavier McKinney, Adoree Jackson, Maurice Kennedy, and then Darnay Holmes snuck in 55% of the defensive snaps in 2020 when he was a rookie. That's it. Those are the 4 players that have at least 1 season of 50% of defensive snaps in a given season. I'm worried about the secondary, Bobby. I'm worried.
Yeah, and I would still like to see it to sign a little more of an established cornerback too. But Kennedy seems like the 5th, the 5th or 6th corner on the roster who has that outside ability, with him. So I wouldn't be slating him in at cornerback too. They also signed cornerback Michael Jacquette, 6'2", 201 pounds. He is an outside corner, and you see the size. He started 2 games for the Eagles in 2020. Was targeted a ton in those games. He gave up 2 touchdowns versus the Cardinals. But he did have 3 passes defended and a forced fumble versus DeAndre Hopkins. Again, it's camp, not much on him. And then Khalil Dorsey, 5'9", 170 pounds, came from the Ravens. He's played in 6 games on special teams for the Ravens. So those are your new additions, and we'll miss you, Raymond Johnson. And honestly, I'm a little excited to see who the new 4th QB is, because I'd like to see someone different besides Brian Lewerke in the preseason.
Yeah, right on.
Jordan Mosley, it lasted 2 days. Supposedly Trenton Thompson, little tweet, little birdie said he had a rough rookie camp picking things up. And then Valentino, so we lose 2 Florida guys in Valentino and Trent Harris. So Florida and Miami. All right, Julian, why don't you read an ad?
Today's episode is sponsored by SeatGeek. Live events are back, which means you can get $20 off tickets at SeatGeek with promo code GIANTS. Promo code GIANTS. If you don't know what SeatGeek is, they're a ticketing app that makes buying tickets super simple. We've got the app on our phones. Whether it's football, concerts, basketball, baseball, festivals, or more, SeatGeek puts tickets from all over the web in one place to make buying simple. I'm going to the Lightning game this Sunday and potentially Monday.
Wow. How much are tickets for that?
They're like $120. I got mine on SeatGeek. $120 for the nosebleeds, and nosebleeds are honestly pretty good tickets for a hockey game. You can still see everything.
It was green. You clicked on the green deal score, right, Julian?
Exactly. Yep.
Wow.
SeatGeek rates every ticket from 0 to 10 to make sure you're getting a good deal. Green means good, red means bad. I got green. Every ticket on SeatGeek is backed by their buyer guarantee, so you can shop for tickets with confidence. Don't worry, we've got the hookup. Use code GIANTS for $20 off tickets at SeatGeek. That's $20 off your first purchase with promo code GIANTS. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app.
All All right, I was just seeing if we missed any quotes since we are on there, and we did not. All right, this is a little segment we do every single year in the off season, and we have an interview we're doing with Dan Schneier that'll be out on Tuesday, but we didn't want to put it out on a Friday because it's always a good interview. And get SeatGeek to go to the truck race in Charlotte on May 27th. Be there. We're gonna have a whole freaking party out there. Come have fun. 4:00 Charlotte Motor Speedway, May 27th. Be there. Be there. Be there. Be there. And then buy the cheapest ticket for the truck race. We're all gonna sit together. All right, Justin. Let's take our way too early look at 2023 free agency. Which does kind of signals we spotted Kenny Galladay in this way before. So Justin, what do you like? What's the position that you look at? You look at as a need for the Giants, and you look at the free agency crop and be like, this could be a spot that we get a guy.
Secondary, right?
Like cornerback but the biggest contract they give out next year of a free agent, you'd be like cornerback or safety?
Cornerback. Yeah, cornerback.
Okay. There wasn't a lot of cornerbacks I liked.
No.
I can see it being safety. There's one big dog out there that I'm going to bring up.
Bring him home.
Who are you thinking?
Minka.
We'll talk about it. All right, but let's start at the edge, Justin.
Okay, sure.
The first guy that was on mine was a guy who's played for Wink Martindale, Yannick Ngakoue. He's been doing these one-year deals, and he was a hot commodity for Giants fans. And for 2020, he ended up not getting.
Because he posted a picture of LT.
Rightfully slow, like that. The Yannick Ngakoue train was kind of annoying, and Yannick was partly annoying with that too, the way he was, going out there. But he's going to be 28 years old.
Hold on, I got to say something. I have to bring up the whole Yannick Ngakoue versus Leonard Williams debate. Leonard Williams, 2019 and 2020 was better than Yannick Ngakoue, and I think I was told I was crazy, especially after 2019. Like the 2019 heading into 2020, that was like Yannick Ngakoue insanity. And I'm like, no, Leonard Williams is going to be better than Yannick Ngakoue, and he freaking was. So
I would
SMD.
hope so for $10 million a year more.
SMD. I don't care about money. I'm not paying him.
It obviously ties with McMartindale. Was with the Ravens for a little bit in 2020. Had a good year for the Raiders this past year. Working with that pass rushing group. He had 10 sacks, 8 tackles for loss, 23 QB hits. I can see him being brought in on one of those 1 year, 2 year type deals, where it is a good amount, it's 2 years, 25 mil, or 1 year, 13 mil, or, 13.5 mil. You have Kayvon and Aziz as those guys there. I'm sure they would like to add a third guy into that mix, depending on how well Aziz progresses this first year. If Aziz is awesome, then maybe you're not in the edge market. But if Aziz is just kind of like what he was last year, or a little bit better, then it's like, okay, let's put together a 3-headed monster through free agency.
Yeah, that would be a luxury third ad, in my opinion. Like a luxury third ad.
Yeah, but it's something that with a lot of good teams have those 3 guys.
He had a good year last year with the Raiders.
Yeah, had a nice bounce back. He didn't do very well in Wink Martindale's defense, but Wink Martindale's defense doesn't allow edges to get, to rack up a bunch of stats. Any edge that's in Wink Martindale's defense has better stats the year they leave Baltimore.
Yeah, well, look at Judon. Like, he got that big money from New England. I'm sure a lot of people are like, should you have paid him that big money? And then lo and behold, he had a really good year. He had 36 pressures this past year on 72% of the snaps, over 23 QB hits, 10 sacks. So, I mean, if you're hitting that jackpot of double-digit sacks, over 20 QB hits, and over 30 pressures, I feel like that's like the kind of rating and the kind of nice little progression that I like to see. And he checked all 3 boxes last year. So let's see what you do this year, Yannick. Maybe have a little bit of a down year, and then come to the Giants and be the number 3.
Did you do you have an edge guy on your list?
I don't, because I'm not approaching edge rusher next year as something that I'm interested in spending a lot of money on. It was this year that I was like, hey, let's get like a Jerry Hughes in there. Let's get like a vet. But now that Kayvon is added and Kayvon's on the team, that's not really an area that I look to.
A guy who would fit Wink Martindale really well, Marcus Davenport, the Saints defensive end. He's big frame, 6'6", 265. He's going to be 26 years old. He just came off his best season, but he has missed time in every season too. But this past year in 11 games, he had 9 sacks, 9 tackles for loss, and 16 QB hits, which is pretty good. Started to come into his own this past year. I wanted to throw him on the list, Marcus Davenport, as a name to look out for. So let's talk about cornerback. Who's top on your list?
I don't necessarily have like a top, but I have one guy from Miami, Nick Needham from Miami. Almost 50% of man snaps in 2021, 74.2 QB rating allowed in man coverage. So Nick Needham, he's kind of a little bit on the younger side too. So he's a guy that I have from Miami. Then Jonathan Jones from New England. He was originally a UDFA, but he missed some time due to injury in 2021, was one of the best graded man coverage corners in 2020. So if he has, maybe another season where he misses some time, or if he has a little bit of a bounce back this year, I know those, especially those Patriots guys, they don't like to kind of re-sign everybody. So Jonathan Jones coming to the Giants is somebody who I would be quite interested in.
What was the Miami guy's name? Because they played a ton of cover zero.
Nick Needham.
Yeah, they blitz like crazy. So Nick Needham. Yeah, do you need him?
Yeah.
Bam.
We do.
So I gave you my list of guys, so we're obviously going to have different guys. But Marcus Peters, obviously,
Big name.
Ravens trade for him. He's going to be 30 years old. Obviously a man cover corner who fit Wink Martindale, like excelled with Wink Martindale after, struggling a little bit with the Chiefs and the Rams, where he was kind of like a boomer bust. Like Wink Martindale got the best out of Marcus Peters, where he was a real playmaker for them. And then Rock Ya-Sin, who was traded from the Colts to the Raiders, a former second-round pick.
Good in man coverage.
Yeah, look at his he's going to be 27. Look at his advanced stats this past year. 56.5 completion percentage against him, 248 yards, 9.5 yards per reception. Not per target, per reception. That's really good. And then 5.3 yards per target, and then 7 pass breakups. I'm really excited to see what he does with Patrick Graham and the Raiders this year, because Patrick Graham gets the best out of his cornerbacks. So I'm really excited to see that duo next year.
Yeah. Excited to see if Patrick Graham goes a little bit more man coverage and what he kind of wanted to do with the Giants.
I mean, he's got pass rushers.
Mm-hmm.
Chandler Jones and Max Crosby. Off-ball linebacker. Tremaine Edwards.
Yeah.
From the Bills, part of, Joe Shane's tree. He's gonna be young, 24 years old. Obviously was a first-round pick by them. Versatile. Somewhere on the move to edge in the Bills fan base. I don't think that's happening. He's racked up a lot of tackles for them. So if, Tremaine, they move on from Blake Martinez, I could see them, not wanting to fill inside linebacker with, they would, if they don't keep Blake Martinez, they'd be going into free agency with Tay Crowder, Darian Beavers, and Micah McFadden.
I almost would rather them look into, keeping Blake Martinez.
Yeah, if he plays well, I would love to keep Blake Martinez. He's a very good player. There's
Devin Bush as well, if you want to really go younger. Roquan Smith, who I think is going to get the bag, right?
Yeah,
Roquan Smith is really
Smith
good.
will get the bag from the Bears.
Yeah, and he's probably not gonna leave. But yeah, looking at some of these other names, especially interior kind of off ball, if you kind of want to keep that position at kind of a good spot, Blake Martinez is going to be 30 after this year, and then even if he has a little bit of a down year, fantasy football data, second year off the ACL. That's when your body's in tip-top shape. So then next year, Blake Martinez will be the second year off the ACL injury, and hopefully he can play even better than he plays this year. So kind of keep him around.
I also threw Denzel Perryman in there, 30 years old, 7-year starter. He's a trustworthy player. He's with the Raiders right now. Played with the Chargers for a long time. Miami guy, so I've always kept an eye on him a little bit. Decent in coverage. Just a trustworthy player. If they're not going to go big spending, but they're also, like I said, don't want to run with Tay Crowder, Darian Beavers, and Micah McFadden. Denzel Perriman's a good guy to bring in that you could get for $3 to $4 million a year.
Yeah.
Do you have any off-ball guys?
No. Besides, I said Devin Bush, Roquan Smith.
Oh yeah.
No.
Safety. This is where, if there was one player that's in the next year's free agency that we just went big game hunting, and I think the Steelers probably bring him back, it's Minkah Fitzpatrick, man.
Bring him home.
Dude, he's a beast. And he talk about versatile. Like, they played him at freaking cornerback at times in Miami. He's played more that, safety spot for Pittsburgh. He played down in the box a little bit. Maybe not as much as more so than he liked. Shot, that was a shot at Patrick Graham and Brian Flores. Like, if you look at next year's free agency, if there's one, it's like, go big game hunting. Don't talk to me about safety positional value. Minkah Fitzpatrick and Xavier McKinney being together would be deadly. And it's something that the Joe Shane and Buffalo believes in with their safeties, and Hyde and Poyer, and it's something that Wink Martindale believes in with their safeties and the Ravens. That would be sexy. Minkah Fitzpatrick and McKinney in the same safety room.
I would be able to get a Minkah Fitzpatrick interview.
What are you talking about coming back home? I must not know this storyline.
Minkah Fitzpatrick and I went to high school together.
You did?
Yeah, he graduated a year before I did.
So you know him?
Define no.
Have you ever had his phone number?
No. But I can get an interview with him. I would be able to make that happen.
Is that a guarantee?
I would guarantee that.
How fun would it have Minkah Fitzpatrick on Wink Martindale's defense? I mean, he's a beast, dude. He immediately paid dividends for the Steelers. I remember when the trade stuff happened in Miami. And in fact, the use of Minkah Fitzpatrick was the thing that had me the most worried about Patrick Graham when he came in. Was how they used Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Oh, yeah.
So they tried to put him in the box versus the Ravens that game when they got torched. And people, you know how it is. Anytime somebody's on the market, they're like, it's like every fan base is like,
get him?
Trade for him. And at first I was like, okay, relax. And then I went and watched him play man coverage versus Diggs and Thielen in Minnesota playing cornerback. I'm like, oh my gosh, this dude is really good. I kind of want Minkah Fitzpatrick. Now we wouldn't have Andrew Thomas if we did that. So I digress. But Minkah Fitzpatrick, dude, I would love to freaking have him on this team.
And he was a better running back and wide receiver in high school, which is crazy.
You're worried about his high school. You just want all these New Jersey guys to play offense. Jabril Peppers, safeties.
I do.
I have one other safety who's a smaller name. Do you have anybody from the safeties?
No, I mean besides the big name hunting of Jesse Bates is going to be a free agent. You mentioned Jordan Poyer. He is going to be a free agent. Poyer's on the plus side of 30. He's going to be 32 this year. Jimmy Ward from the 49ers. I'm not giving up hope. Devin McCourty's still around, and I've been wanting him to be a Giant. Hey, come home, Devin McCourty. Come home.
Wearing a Rutgers shirt, biased.
I am wearing a Rutgers shirt.
The one I threw in there is not much known, but Giants fans should know him. He had 2 interceptions versus Daniel Jones. Who is this player?
This is a good trivia question. I don't know.
Taylor Rapp from the Rams.
Rams. Okay.
Played that.
I was asleep that game.
He played that star position for the Rams. 25 years old. He'll probably come for pretty cheap. But he's an important part. I think the Rams will try and keep him, but he's an important part of that defense, even though he's not anywhere near the best player in that defense. So if they're looking for someone on the cheap, kind of reminds me of what we would hope Dane Belton turns into as Taylor Rapp. If you told me Dane Belton turns into Taylor Rapp, I would love that. And he's a huge part of their run defense. They move him around a ton. Next on this list would be DraftKings. Slide in the stacks of cash this baseball season with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. New customers can bet just $5 on any team to win and get $150 in free bets no matter what, win or lose. Looking to turn a small bet into a big payday during MLB season? With DraftKings same-game parlays, you can do just that. Create your own parlay by combining multiple bets, like which team will win, how many bases will be stolen, total runs, and more. It's your shot at an even bigger payout. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code JOHNBOY. Bet just $5 and get $150 in free bets no matter what happens on the field. That's promo code JOHNBOY at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. MLB trademarks used with permission.
Can we talk quarterbacks? Actually, no. There's one more defensive guy I want to talk about.
Julian, do you have any betting tips?
If the Lightning
Justin, who's this guy you're talking about on defense?
Wow, that was really rude of Julian. Just cut him off.
It was rude of Julian. Tried to interrupt the show with gambling talk.
Thanks, Julian.
I like having a producer with us because it's I kind of like to be a bully, but it's I can't bully Justin. So it's I just can bully Julian.
What do you mean you can't? You bully me in spurts.
Yeah, in spurts. I can't just I can bully Julian at all times.
That's true, just permanently. I just threatened to fire him a little while ago. Deron Payne from Washington.
He's a beast.
And he's going to get the bag. But you want to know what? That would be fun.
Yeah, it'd be fun to add him to Leonard Williams' $25 million a year.
Yep.
Dexter Lawrence's
Give it to me, man.
$10
Money.
million
It's not
a
my
year.
money. Not my money. The cap
yeah.
is going up. The NFL's
let's,
booming.
I agree. Let's spend $70 million on the defensive tackle spot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Dave Gettleman. You are Dave Gettleman.
I am Dave Gettleman because let's just get these defensive tackles in. We don't need any linebackers, and then just have the best corners. How about
Dalvin Tomlinson's a free agent.
Everything is good. DeAndre Baker's a free agent.
Word.
Eli Apple.
Excuse me? Eat my apple?
Eli Apple's a free agent.
That is true.
Eli Apple's a free agent every year because he sucks.
Wow.
Even though I was kind of, I was, whenever Twitter just I just said this after being a bully of the Julian. Anytime Twitter just has everyone just makes fun of one guy, I just kind of root for the other guy a little bit. But it was Eli Apple, so I wasn't really rooting for him. All right, let's talk about some offensive guys. Did you say quarterback?
Yeah, quarterback. I have a lot of quarterback names.
Why? We have Tyrod Taylor.
Well, I was going to have a conversation about how there's a lot of these quarterbacks that are here that don't push the needle for me in terms of wanting him on the team besides Tyrod Taylor. Does that make sense? No.
Well, I mean, okay, so Tyrod Taylor is guaranteed to be on the roster next year. They move on from Daniel Jones. Which of these QBs do you want? Because I guarantee I'm not going to agree with any of them.
I'm not saying that I do. My point is that I don't think I would want any of these guys. So here are the names that would be somewhat maybe. Baker Mayfield.
Nope.
Sam Darnold.
Nope.
Teddy Bridgewater.
Nope.
Case Keenum.
Nope.
Jacoby Brissett.
Nope.
Taylor Heineke.
Nope.
I'd think about it. Andy Dalton.
Nope.
Drew Lock.
Nope.
Geno Smith also out there too.
Nope. Double nope.
Taylor Heineke would be the only one that's all right.
He'd be a third string quarterback.
Well, who would the second string be?
Tyrod Taylor.
But who's the first? My point is, who in an offense in a Giants world where we don't have Daniel Jones? That's what I'm talking about.
Someone from the draft.
Someone from the draft. So it would. It's not an automatic lock in my brain that if Daniel Jones is not here next year, that we draft somebody. I don't think that's a lock.
Then they should re-sign Daniel Jones to a 1-year deal.
Okay. Okay.
On the offensive side, besides quarterback, tight end, Dawson Knox is out there.
Yeah,
obviously, connection with Joe Shane and Brian Daboll works a lot for them. I'm going to be interested to see what Dawson Knox gets in free agency, because I could see him getting $12 million a year, and then I could also see him getting $7 million a year.
Well, these tight ends are getting like with the interior D-line guys, they're getting bananas money.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Dawson Knox production, and it's maybe not. It's not as good as you would think by the way Dawson Knox is talked about.
Mike Gesicki, Dalton Schultz, and David Njoku, their 2022 AAV is just south of $11 million. That is a lot of money.
But Evan Ingram got what was it, $9 million?
He's guaranteed $9 million this year.
Yeah, Gesicki I don't want. I need if I'm paying a tight end that kind of money, he needs to be able to block. And if he's only a receiver, he has to be better than Mike Gesicki, even though he's a good player.
Gesicki is also limited by yards after the catch too. There's a lot of fantasy people that have talked about that. He's athletic, but just for whatever reason, he just does not get yards after the catch. So
Mike Gesicki's a really good tight end, but he's not the type of tight end I'm breaking the bank for, and he's going to get that type of money.
Yeah.
Dalton Schultz would be really nice, but he's not leaving Dallas.
Austin Hooper's getting $10.5 million.
Yeah.
What?
That's why my next name on this tight end list is Josh Oliver. He was just a guy I liked in the draft in 2020 out of the third round out of San Jose State, was drafted by the Jags, and then he was with the Ravens but didn't play much for them. So he actually might be a guy who gets cut in training camp because they drafted Charlie Kohler and Isaiah Likely. So maybe he's not. Maybe he's on the 2022 free agency list for me. But he's just a guy from the draft. I remember we've been doing this long enough where it's oh, that's a guy I kind of decently liked in the draft, and he sucks. Which is people like last year I learned, because I wasn't doing the draft stuff in 2018. People love Reggie Ragland in the draft. I was oh, that's why.
Fun.
He sucks.
Go off, King.
Interior offensive line. It's a bad class.
I got a name.
Give me a name.
Mitch Morse. Center from Buffalo and Kansas City.
I mean, Morse is solid, but like, he's not go out and give a freaking like he's probably a little better than Glowinski. You know,
I'll take that. That means he's better than Feliciano. He's much better than Feliciano.
Yeah, but Feliciano got like $2.5, like $3 million a year on a 1-year deal. Mitch Morse is, and I don't think Buffalo would let Mitch Morse walk. Anyways,
all right.
I've Ben Powers from the Ravens. They are always willing to let guys walk. He started 19 games. The past 2 years was a 2019 fourth rounder. So you know Ben Powers is a name to be out. I'm not sure exactly how good he is, but he started some games and might be cheap. Wide receiver, Mecole Hardman. Mike Kafka. He's going to be 25 years old. He caught 59 passes for them last year.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Byron Pringle. Another middling Kansas City wide receiver that's going to be a free agent.
I think he's on the Bears.
He is on the Bears. He's going to be a free agent.
Oh, okay.
You know who I love? Get Jacoby Myers in here. Loved him in Patriots camp.
Yeah.
Loved him. Not going to catch any touchdowns because that's just he doesn't do that. But he's going to be fun.
Yeah, he's decent. Here's another draft guy this guy I'm convinced he would be good, but he's injured every year. Paris Campbell from the Colts, the wide receiver from Ohio State. Just a yak king, but he's just had injuries every year. But he'll be 25 years old. But I liked him a lot.
There's this guy named Debo. No, I'm kidding. Rice and John's going to be a free agent.
Yeah, I saw Debo Samuel. Yeah, well, they had him listed as a wide receiver. Disrespectfully, the tight end. And then running back. Is there any running backs on this list that kind of...
Saquon Barkley's going to be a free agent. Should we look into him?
Is there any running backs on the list that you kind of pop? Marlon Mack was the only one where it's like he'd be a good like starter / second string for cheap. Like he's on a $3 million. He got a 1 year $3 million deal this year.
Yeah, no, nobody really like pops out. I have enough anxiety about what are we going to do with Saquon, let alone thinking about what are we going to do in free agency next year for that spot. So
Jamal Williams would be a guy that I would love to root for. He's pretty fun to watch.
Jamal Williams is on there. I wonder how the Texans are going to use. Like, I think Mac's going to get some good playing time. I mean, he was solid for the Colts. Missed some games, but like he had over 1,000 yards one season. So
Rex Burkhead.
I like Marlon Mack. All right, Justin, why don't you read an ad because we kind of finished.
Yeah. I'll read an ad to kind of wrap us up here. Athletic Greens. Everybody knows Athletic Greens. I've been talking about it. I'm continuing to lose weight, and I start off every morning with some AG1 to give me some energy. It gives me focus so I can look at these 2023 free agents, even though it's like a year out in advance, and it's a silly but good exercise. We got to do it because we got to have some things to talk about. So, it's lifestyle friendly, AG1 is. Whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free, Athletic Greens uses the best of the best products based on the latest science with constant product iterations and third-party testing. With Athletic Greens, you're investing in an all-in-one nutritional insurance. So right now, it's time to reclaim your health with just one scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. Until I start off my morning. Get a glass of water, put some AG1, scoop some AG1, put it in my glass, and I drink it. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply, of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/Giants. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/Giants. Take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
I forgot to keep track of Giants stores, so we'll bring that back next Friday. So the show is over, but it's not technically over, but if you're just all you care about is analysis, then the show is over.
I love that we're at this point of the offseason where now we can say, okay, the show's over, and then we just fuck around.
Although I did that was like the critique. I was reading up on some of the comments and stuff or reviews on the forums of the Andrew Thomas interview. People are like, it's just they didn't talk about like football. It's like go listen to Andrew Thomas press conferences if that's all you. So I thought the football questions I wanted to get that interview. I'm not super confident in our interview, or at least my interview ability, but I felt good coming away from that, especially for a guy who is not very open and outgoing like Andrew. I thought it was pretty good, But it also helped that
hold on, that's a bad critique. That's a bad critique because the aha moment question and he went into specifically what he did during his rookie year, I thought that was very good. And also,
we had a lot of good football talk.
What are you looking to improve this upcoming year? He talked specifically. He didn't just say, oh yeah, this, that, just becoming a better player. He said specifically, I am looking to improve this. I forget what his answer was, but that was like one of the last things that I asked was, what are you specifically looking to improve for this next season? So it was very niche, nitty-gritty football talk. So I don't want to hear that. That's a terrible critique.
Yeah, I mean, it's the best football answers you've ever gotten out of Andrew Thomas. Has in New York Times.
Yes.
The one part, the part that I enjoyed the most, that no one really talked about, was I was like, man, I was pissed Robert Quinn got that sack on you. He's like, wasn't paying the run at all. I was like, I know.
You were saying that.
I was like, dude was just dipping the edge. Like that might have been my favorite moment of the interview was that. It's like, dude wasn't playing the run for even a second. Like that was good. But anyways, a week from today, we're going to be in North Carolina, man. Are you nervous, excited?
Why would I be nervous?
I don't know, because I don't know how many people are going to show up.
No, so here's the thing. I was already banking on going to North Carolina anyway for the NASCAR race. I was going to go see the trucks, and then Saturday, probably going to go see the Hall of Fame, and then go out during the night. And then Sunday, I bought my tickets via SeatGeek. Bought my tickets already for the Cup race. Got really good seats. I'm excited about that. So I was already going anyway. So I'm really excited about that weekend to just kind of sit down, enjoy, and we're just going to plop up a table, a camera, some microphones, and we're going to talk to whoever's there and just have a, talk Giants. That's what we kind of do.
It's going to be a fun time. So if you're in the area, please come out. And I was thinking for Saturday, because we don't have like a plan for Saturday, is the Rangers play the Carolina Hurricanes that night, but it's not in Carolina. We could just go to like some sports bar and just like go watch that game, because I'm sure there'll be a good amount of Rangers.
Can we rudely root for the Rangers?
I don't think Carolina Hurricane fans are like raiding sports bars. Like I think I think you'll be fine, honestly. I don't think they care about hockey at all.
Well, I don't really care about hockey. I just want to like rudely root for something.
See, I don't. I'm a Devils fan, so I don't have a vested interest. Although I am happiest for Rangers fans, this joy that they've received.
Good for New York.
Yeah. So come on out, Charlotte Motor Speedway, May 27th. We're gonna be out there at like 3 or 4. Get set up. So come out, have a good time. We'll do a little live mailbag, get you on the show. And then we'll all go into the race, sit together. You can bring your own alcohol into the track. We're all going to go.
You can bring your own cigars, which I will be smoking in the stands.
I'm not sure if you can smoke at the track.
No, inside you can. Yeah, Dover. Just a couple. Dover and Martinsville was too cold. But Dover a couple weeks ago, yeah, you could smoke inside the track.
That's crazy.
I'm doing it.
So yeah, that's it's going to be a good time. It'll be fun. Julian, are you going?
No.
I'm not going.
Is Snacks going?
Probably not.
Is Danny King going?
No. We haven't heard from him.
So I text him right now.
Yeah,
I'll
text
call
him. No, give him a call. This is a podcast. You kidding me?
Yeah, if anyone says like these guys are BSing on nothing, it's like, we told you the show's over.
Yeah, we told you. Show's over. I love this point of the offseason where we can announce that the show's over. And it's crazy. Can I just say that it's crazy that we have to do that or else people will get upset with us? I think that's absurd. Just like, get over it.
I get it. I understand it.
No, I don't get it.
Like, there's Twitter accounts who got big and now they like don't do what they did big. And it's like, you're annoying.
Hello?
Are you coming to North Carolina?
No, I don't think I will.
Are you have food in your mouth?
Yeah.
All right, we're live on the podcast, so we were wondering if you're coming or not.
No,
all right,
I don't think I will.
All right, so don't be like Danny King and come to North Carolina. See ya.
Yeah, eat shit.
So we could get like two people with us on the mic at a time, So
yeah, I will. I will bring 2 handheld mics, so you don't have to do the whole headphone thing.
Yeah. So, and make sure you scream into them as loud as you possibly can when you get them in your hand.
Yeah, that'll really help. Julian's gonna edit that one. I'm not gonna.
All right. So scream louder. All right, we appreciate you guys. We'll be back on. What do you think about putting the Dan Snyder interview out on Monday, since we'll have it done?
Yeah, why not? Sunday I'm recording Bleeding Blue with Snacks, so I'll come home and I'll just put it out. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So yeah, Dan Schneider will be out on Monday. We appreciate you guys. Have a good weekend. Until then, let's go Big Blue.